So in today's video, we are working on an iPad 9th generation. Can you guess what the problem is? It's a broken screen. Let's get to it. So this iPad belongs to a musician, and right here on the side, so you can tell it's spiderwebbed all over. This was broken from one of his students. It's kind of awkward position to be in my opinion. Who pays for this repair now? The student or the teacher? So we just put it on the heating plate and we're gonna wait till it hits about 95 degrees so we can start working and prying off the screen. All right, now that the iPad is hot enough, we're gonna go ahead and start prying the screen off. You know, I like to start off with using a razor blade. I like to get underneath that adhesive and then using a pick to just shave off. So if you notice with my pick, I like to push up against the display. That's easier to cut the adhesive. We got the bottom part. Need to always be careful here because of that home button. Definitely don't want to damage that. Now if the home button was damaged, the customer does lose Touch ID permanently. That part's opened. We'll just do the very top portion now. Okay, it looks like it is fully open. All right, we'll use Luffy's head and we'll wait it out. So very first thing with iPads is we remove the 4 screws holding down the display on all 4 corners. Yeah, but for real though, if you're a teacher and I guess this is your iPad and one of your students break it, I mean, it's awkward as hell to ask your student to pay for the repair, right? So I'm gonna assume this teacher is paying for this, not the student. What would you guys do? Would you guys charge your students or would you repair it yourself? I mean, personally, I think I would just repair it myself. Well, it depends on the scenario, right? If this is like private tutoring, then okay, yeah, for sure yourself. But if this is like a public school or it's like having a friend borrow your car and they just scratched it up just a tiny bit, would you charge your friend? Very awkward situation. And remove these 3 screws holding down the shield. Okay, LCD has been removed, and we'll just remove these 2 cables. These are the digitizer cables, and just that home button cable. These generally are quick repairs, 25-30 minutes, and we're out. I'll just cut the remaining adhesive on the screen. Okay, now that we have the digitizer removed, we'll unplug this battery, we'll put it back on the heating plate, and let's work on the digitizer. We're gonna remove the home button. I definitely want a clean razor blade, a sharp one for that matter. So now that we have a clean razor blade, to remove the button, we just slice off the adhesive right underneath. And we'll remove the button. Okay, so now that we've removed this home button from the digitizer, we are done with the digitizer. We'll dispose of that and we'll bring back the iPad and we're gonna go ahead and disconnect this battery right here. So the process to disconnect batteries is simple. We're just gonna create a separation between the battery and the motherboard. That's it. Let's clean up this frame. So to clean the frame, we'll just use the same X-Acto blade and we'll go all over the frame. Do you see some frame damage right here on that corner? Very slight. Something I should probably note on the customer's ticket. We like to be very specific with our tickets and the notes. This way it protects us and the customer has full knowledge of what we received and the condition that it's in. Especially if we don't notice it up front once we take in the repair. Sometimes we notice more damage as we're working on it. And there's a lot of liability in this business because you're handling customers' tech. Thankfully, we've never had an issue with a customer and their tech, but we did have one small issue back in the day, actually. I remember this now. We had a customer that brought us a MacBook. We ended up doing, I believe, a battery replacement. This was years ago. And he brought us his charger. So all chargers are placed on top of the computer that's brought in with, just so we won't ever mix it up or lose it or any of that sort. Once we finished the repair, the customer was fully convinced that that was not his charger when we returned it back to him, which made it into a big problem because we started doubting ourselves and we started checking around, we triple checked, and he's not taking it. He's not believing that that's his charger. So we ended up reaching out to another customer prior to him that had a similar laptop. We probably assumed that we swapped out chargers between them. And we reached out to him, we sent out a technician to his home to swap out the chargers. The customer that took his laptop already home, that was his own charger, and our customer in the store was incorrect. So we looked at cameras, and just to prove to the customer that your charger has been on top of your laptop ever since we received it and after the repair was done. Customer ended up believing us after he saw footage, but sometimes we get customers like this from time to time. All right, so the frame's adhesive has been cleaned the majority of it, so we'll just hit it with some alcohol, isopropyl, and this should remove the remaining adhesive. Adhesive's weakness is always alcohol. It just burns through it like nothing. We've cleaned the iPad, the majority of it. We're gonna put this guy aside and we're gonna work on this home button. What we need to do with this button is we're gonna remove this gasket, just like that, this plastic piece that we don't need. And then we're gonna remove the rubber gasket from the back of the button. And that black dot right there in the center is called the nipple. We need to be very careful not to damage that because that's the responsibility of that is what makes the clicking sound and actually presses the button. Definitely don't want to damage that by accident. Okay, so now that the button has been cleaned off, we have a full new gasket, rubber gasket that we're gonna install. Now we just need to figure out the orientation. So it's gonna go something like that. So we're gonna go ahead and slide this through. It's crazy how much work is needed on the home button. Gasket has been officially installed on the home button and it looks brand new. Now if you guys can recall, we end up removing the plastic gasket, which was this right here, off the home button. This was laying right on top. We removed that and the new one is placed already on the screen. So at this point, before we install that button, we're just gonna remove the adhesive around on this metal frame, just like that. We're gonna do this to both of them. And the second one. All right, we are almost done. We'll clean this up right now with some alcohol. Now if you wanna hear that squeaky sound, that tells you you're doing a good job. And then the last side. Good. I ran out of the thicker 3M adhesive, so we're just gonna stack them side by side, which create the strength of a larger one, just like that. Creates more work for me, but not a big deal. So I'm doing all this while trying to maintain the integrity of that nipple that I was telling you guys earlier. The black dot right behind that button. And look, I cut it at perfect length. Tells you years of experience. Okay, so the home button's done. Let's bring the new screen. We'll remove this blue film. Should be ready for installation. It's very important we align it correctly from the top, from the very beginning. We definitely don't want to redo our work. So we'll align it as straight as possible, at least the button, and that foundation will align automatically. All right, it's looking good. So I like to just pull on the cable just a little bit, and it should lay perfect. Enough for it to start clicking. We'll triple check and we should hear it. Yep, good. We'll just put everything back together and that would be it. This customer did drop this off about 30 minutes ago. Let's do the cables first. Okay, both cables have been clicked in. Let's connect the home button cable. Just like that. Let's not forget to cover the home button FPC connector with its tape. Now we're gonna install the LCD. Shield goes in place. Let's not forget this bracket holds down the home button in place. As I'm screwing the LCD back in, I like to just turn on the iPad and make sure it turns on and it's responding to the touch of the new screen. Okay, here we go. Seems like it's responding perfectly. I also like to peel back this black tape and put the screw. A lot of technicians just kind of power through it and just rip that tape. I don't like doing that. I'm not a big fan of doing that for some reason. Kind of want to make it seem like I've never been in here before, you know what I mean? Okay. Now, of course, there's always signs that we've been here before or signs that this has been repaired, but we'll try to minimize it. Right before I close it, we'll blow some air one more time. Perfect. And we're done. Easy repair, right? What's going on here? All right, so easy repair, pretty quick. Took us about maybe altogether 25 minutes of work. We did have a few customers come in, which kind of extended the timer, but it is what it is. So hopefully you guys enjoyed it. It was a simple iPad 9th generation screen repair. And if you guys did, don't forget to like and subscribe. We'll see you guys on the next one. Peace.